listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back with another episode. We are in the 60s now in terms of how many episodes we've done. We are in the middle of a hurricane currently. Hurricane Helena? So I'm not sure of the name. Who'd she ever beat? But she's not beating us. We're here for the people, for the masses, as always. Recording another episode. We're going to do things a little different this episode. Working out some kinks, trying to get some steam back. But as always, on the other end of the call, he is the co-host, the co-pilot, the historian of the Scoop Slam Podcast. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, come hell or high water, we are back at it again, ready to scoop it, slam it, and talk about a little wrestling this week, man.
Yeah, there's some good rain, but I don't see any high water here at least. But I know everybody was strapping everything down and getting ready, which, you never know with a hurricane, but
It's supposedly really bad around Tampa.
I don't doubt it. Which I think they kind of got the outer band of it, but I think it's going up through Georgia.
Sheesh. Yes, it's supposed to be something.
Maybe it'll clear out some of the what's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna go through Atlanta, and maybe it'll get some of the hecklers in Atlanta, as next weekend we're heading up to Bad Blood, so should be interesting. Hopefully it doesn't just rip the city in half, but
maybe it'll get some of the Cody crybabies.
Oh well, I wouldn't mind that. But as always, we've got some wrestling to talk about. We're gonna hit all the major shows. Weekly reviews are back, thank God. But Ryan, before we get too far in anything, it's a big weekend. Alabama versus Georgia. I know I talked about it last weekend because we were on bye week. But this is the weekend. Do you feel like this game means as much as it used to? Because I've been seeing that discourse online. A lot of people are saying, well, with the 12-team playoff, this just don't feel as big as it normally does. But to me, it still feels like bragging rights. It's still like probably the biggest game of Bama's season, regular season at least, and probably the biggest regular season game outside of the potential Georgia-Texas matchup later in the season.
Yeah, that's true, Micah, but it's kind of like having a match right before a PLE, and you got a big PLE match coming up. You got a big title match, and you have a match on Raw. And you're wrestling that match, and the commentators are saying they're doing this to build momentum going into the PLE. It has no stakes to it. There's no SEC championship game on the line. There's no playoff implications on the line. It is a regular season game. It does mean about bragging rights. So, of course, it's not going to be as important as the SEC championship or the national title. So I can see where people are coming from. Yes, it is a big game, but it's still early on in the season. If either one of these teams lose, theoretically, that does not eliminate them from playoff contention at all.
Yeah. I think that's people's main issue is like now, back in the day when it was BCS, one loss, that was probably it.
Every week mattered. It don't, week 3 in October, it mattered.
But then I see the other side of the coin too, where it's like, for Colorado, for instance, they've already lost 2 games. So by the end of the season, is anybody really going to be watching Colorado? No, probably not. But if they go on like an 8-game winning streak right here and they get ranked and, they get kind of in playoff contention, I can see how that holds more of the fan base like throughout the season.
And aren't conference winners get an automatic bid to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's the highest seeded, or the top 4 highest seeded conference champions get a bid.
Okay. Yeah. So, Colorado lost a couple games, but they're still not out they're not out of contention just yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, part of me does miss that BCS element where every week mattered, you know.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, like people gripe and moan about the freaking like last year with FSU not getting in. I don't
Oh
think it should have
God.
been 12. I think 6 probably would have been a happy medium because usually there was always 2 left out and 4 that should have for sure been in.
But now you got so many watered down bowl games. Nobody plays in the bowl games anymore because it's supposedly has no stakes to it.
Yeah,
So I mean, the playoffs did kind of kill the bowl games.
that's true. But I mean, now you have freaking 12. How many games do you have? You got 12 teams, so you got probably it ended up with what 10 more playoff games. That's really like 10 bowl games right there.
But what
I
about
don't
other
know.
teams? What about other teams? What about the
Nobody
top
cares
part bowl?
about the Auburn, the toilet bowl, Auburn versus Arkansas.
What about the prestigious Pop Tart Bowl, Micah?
Who
Where the
said that
winner
can't
gets
be in the
a
playoff?
the winner gets a giant Pop Tart. Did you see that last year?
Yeah, and it was like they like ate the mascot.
Yeah.
Pause.
Well, I mean, it happened. We've seen it.
Yeah, it was on live TV. But speaking of things that have been on live TV, the Vince documentary came out this week, so I know we've been
Oof.
tuning into that. I'm not done with it yet, but Ryan, I know you finished it. If you want to kind of hit on that and give your overall thoughts about it.
Oh, it was a very entertaining watch. But if you're going there to learn about Vince, stuff that you haven't heard before, you're probably gonna be watching the wrong documentary. Because they did hit on a couple of his past allegations and past controversies. Yes, they did hit on a couple things, but they really didn't spend a lot of time on them. Like the
Yeah.
Ashley Mazzaro situation thing, it really didn't get covered, but for maybe a couple minutes, and they were just on to the next thing. So it's entertainment. And if you want to get somebody into wrestling that has never seen wrestling, I'm sure they will enjoy this documentary. But if you're a long-term fan and you bought all the DVDs like I have and read all the dirt sheets over the years and read the message boards, you're really not going to come away with learning a bunch here.
Well, see, that's what I wish I could remember who put it on Twitter, but they were like, you have to understand that the amount of people that are going to watch this on Netflix, maybe like the people that are online talking about, well, there's nothing new in it. I wish there was something new. That's probably like 5% or 10% of the overall viewer base of that
Yeah.
show.
Well,
It's
yeah.
going to be people who used to be wrestling fans, being like, oh, shoot, Mr. McMahon, they got a documentary on Netflix. What's this? And they don't know anything about half of this crap. There's a guy I work with who I knew he was briefly acquainted with. He liked it when he was a kid. And I was like, hey, man, did you see that new documentary they put on Netflix? He's like, yeah, I'm already on episode 2. So, I mean, that's the audience. And I think people complaining about it don't understand that.
Yeah, it's a
But
loud minority that are not the target audience for this right here. And you know what, man? One more thing, we probably move on. It is very disappointing because Vince, Mr. McMahon, the character, the gimmick, the on-screen persona was so good, man.
oh
He
yeah,
was so good, man. But he's basically been Benoit for WWE history now.
sad. I mean, it's sad to say. It's the same way with Benoit. Like, it's sad to say because you respect, I guess, what the person did, but the person behind it is just such a horrible, despicable human being, or they did such a despicable act that you can't justify being like, yeah, I like this person.
And it's so, I don't want to say it's worse with the Vince situation. Because, with Benoit, you can theoretically leave Benoit out if you're telling the story of professional wrestling. You can. But you cannot leave Vince McMahon out when you're telling the story of professional wrestling or WWE. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, that is what people know wrestling as. They don't
Yeah.
say I mean, how many times we had that conversation? If somebody gets slammed in a fight on the street, man, that was like WWE, man. Like that's
Yeah.
term.
He's the
So,
reason
but
he's the reason we're going to Atlanta to go see Bad Blood. We probably would have never
yeah,
met or never been. Well, we probably would have met. We worked together, but we probably would have never done anything outside of work. Is what I mean.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but it's kind of the case. And I felt like we had to mention at least a little bit because, funny enough, that's kind of where the podcast started. It was like our third episode, and it was like, oh well, hey guys, I'm retiring. Holy crap! Okay,
Well, Vince says goodbye. I think that was the name of the episode.
yeah, something like that. Emergency update. But other than that, we're obviously got some wrestling to talk about. But Ryan, I heard through the grapevine you've got something to present to me on the show here, and I'm ready to answer. And I don't know what you got, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the hot seat, Micah. I need you to erase one faction from wrestling history. One faction here. I got you. I got you three options. I got the Shield, the Bloodline, or Evolution. Eliminate one, Micah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So first, does this mean like Roman, for instance? He was in the Shield. So does that mean he is completely erased from wrestling lineage?
No. It just means they were never formed. They still make their debuts in something different, but they don't debut as a faction.
Okay, so Shield, Bloodline.
This should be easy, man. Come on.
Evolution. I think I've got to go with. I don't know.
Man, come on. I know we're gonna make a certain subsection of our fan base mad here because a lot of the younger fans are meat riding the Shield, Micah. But obviously, you have to get rid of the Shield.
I think that's my. I think you've got to get rid of the Shield, and here's why.
Go ahead.
Evolution propelled two careers, two household names.
Yeah.
Potentially even three, because that was kind of when Triple H was kind of still coming in. I mean, he was in his own, but I mean, that was the reign of terror.
It rejuvenated Ric Flair's career too, because he was very dang, what's the word I'm looking for, Micah? He wasn't confident in his he wasn't confident in his skills at that point. And Evolution brought him back to believe in who the Nature Boy was. It did.
Yeah, and I mean, he even says that between Evolution and Taker, that's what really made him stay around as long as he did.
Yeah, bro, look at toward the end of WCW. Man was wrestling with a shirt on. He didn't even take his shirt off anymore.
Yeah. So you got that. Plus you got Randy, who becomes, I mean, Randy's still wrestling today. He's an all-time star. He's lots of people's favorites. I can't say the same for myself. You got Batista, short peak, but they did absolutely everything they could do with him. Huge star, household name. Everybody knows who Batista is. Now then you get to the two subsections of current day situations. But the way I look at it is the Bloodline story as a whole is still going.
Yeah.
And it has rejuvenated the wrestling industry.
It has, yeah.
Pretty much by itself. I mean, yes, there's been other factors like Cody, Punk, all those things, AEW, like all that in one ball, wrapped into one ball, has really got the wrestling industry hot again. But the story that everybody has been interested in and that gets the loudest pops is the Bloodline stuff. Cody's whole rise has been tied in with the Bloodline for the most part. So then we look at the Shield, and yes, Roman, Dean, Seth have all gone on to be giant stars and done their own thing, but Roman's years on top before the bloodline, he was killing the industry. People hated it so bad they turned the channel.
Yeah.
Seth is Triple H. Is he good? Yeah. Is he a top guy? Yeah. But is he the top guy? I don't think so. He's the guy that faces the guy, which is exactly what, he was the architect with Triple H. And then you got Moxley, who led the charge for AEW for a while, got them hot. People really love him. But I don't think in the later years of his WWE run, and maybe now, I don't think he's as influential as the Bloodline story has been for WWE as a whole.
I think when you look at the totality of the Shield, when they were together, they were more over as a unit. However, Evolution, Randy Orton was going through a tear with his Legend Killer phase, and Batista became the hottest baby face in the company, in the business, while he was in Evolution. So I don't know, man, it's tough, but I think when you look at the totality, if you're erasing one from history, you gotta erase the Shield. If you erase the Shield, you pretty much get. Are the WWE missing anything if they erase the Shield though? I don't think so. I think Roman could have debuted without the Shield. Seth could have debuted without the Shield. Ambrose could have debuted without the Shield, and they would have all been just fine. But Randy was just floundering without Evolution. Batista, he was walking around with a donation box on his shoulder. And of course, the Bloodline, man. You can't eliminate the Bloodline from history. They catapulted WWE into the mainstream once again, got them its hottest that it has been in the last 25 years. So, yeah, man, I think this is an easy choice. I'm getting rid of the Shield, and I don't think it's particularly close.
I think that people would struggle with it because of what Roman, Seth, and Dean went on to do. But if you got rid of the Shield and debuted them separately, I still think they would have gone on to do great things. But if you, like you said, if you take away the Bloodline from current day WWE, are they doing WrestleMania in Vegas, for $50,000 for a front row seat? Like, I don't think so. So, I don't know. I think I got to go the Shield. I do agree with you.
Erasing the Shield, huh? So you don't believe in the Shield?
Get Roman to yell it. There's so many of those old Roman clips. I just want to know what was going through his mind. And I also want to know how that guy is the current guy that we have today.
I don't know who was in his ear telling him to say that stuff. I mean, it worked for what it was. He was over coming out of the Shield, and then he kept on talking, and then people realized, oh man, this guy ain't got it.
The one promo at TLC, I think it was TLC, where he makes that just like just the true look of confusion on his face. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I do. Was he by himself?
Yes, he's like, I declare for the Rumble.
Yeah. That was a weird time because Roman was out injured, and they were the crowd just wasn't having it, man. Especially because Daniel Bryan was supposedly about to return. It was just wrong guy at the wrong time.
Yeah. And then Cena freaking just did everything he could to bury Roman. I gotta stick around because you can't do your job.
Yeah, that was he was a babyface in that feud too, man. I think
Yeah.
nobody liked Roman back then.
Dude, I saw a tweet the other day that was like, all it would take for John Cena and AEW is one fine speech pal promo, and he would be the most hated man backstage.
Wait, what you mean?
Like if John Cena was in AEW, all it would take
Yeah.
would be for him to cut one promo and say "fine speech, pal," and he would just be vilified like Punk
Oh
was.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. That would. Can you imagine that?
Goes up to Moxley or Will Ospreay. Fine speech,
What
bruv.
What would have been a bigger shocker? Cena showing up in AEW or Cena turning heel?
I think Cena in AEW.
Really?
Yeah, just because he's been such a lifer, and we know he's all doing his final run. It would be kind of insane to do your final run in the other company. Looking at you, Adam Copeland.
It's it's weird because I think you're right. Cena showing up in AEW would be the biggest surprise, but the biggest jolt to the industry would be Cena turning heel, man.
Yeah, especially.
Like, what would it really mean if Cena showed up in AEW? Would they even do $1 million at that point? I don't know.
Maybe, but see, the thing about Cena is, and at least he's self-aware, the business went down the entire time he was on top, and
Yeah.
Roman got
Be
it
careful now.
up.
Be careful now. You can't say that online.
Oh, what you mean? Will the C Nation come for me?
Yeah, bro. All the kids that were rocking the orange wristbands in elementary school will come for your head, man, if you say that business took a downturn when Cena was on top saying poopy on Monday Night Raw, which he did say that, by the way.
I'm gonna give him a Cleveland steamer.
Now that was funny, but he said
Yeah,
poopy. And I think it was like 2010 or something during the guest host era, man. That was peak C Nation overload right there, man. I could not stand Cena at that point. That was when I was done with him.
the clips, man. When I was a kid, it didn't bother me, but the clips now, like, how is that tolerable?
Oh, he never lost. And when he did lose, it was always, a F finish, or he would no sell it by smiling in his promos. Like
Yeah.
he wouldn't evoke any like sadness emotion. Maybe that was on purpose for the kids, but it just didn't. If you were a long-term fan like I was, it made no sense, and it made you hate Cena because he couldn't take anything serious.
What was that? And it never felt like anybody was a worthy opponent. Like, it kind of felt like the only person around that time period that got over on him was The Miz. And that was just like bull crap. Like, it wasn't like Cena was afraid of The Miz. The Miz was just a cheater.
Maybe Triple H. I think Triple H beat him a couple times, but yeah, I get your point.
But they were dual babyface at that time, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I think the first time they met in like '06, Triple H was heel, but then when they met again in '08, '09, then yeah, they were both baby faces.
yeah. I remember Triple H was dominant during that era.
On SmackDown.
Yes, dude. He just
did,
freaking crushed everybody.
did he have a match with Khali at SummerSlam?
That sounds right.
That was
around the time that I was watching every week.
I think he had Kozlov as an opponent too, bro. I don't know what SmackDown was on.
I also
what was SmackDown doing?
For the championship scramble match. Brian Kendrick was WWE champion for a brief moment.
The Brian Kendrick, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Holocaust denier.
Oh, come on. Well, at least it's not a Sandy Hook denier like old Ronda Rousey.
And Alex Jones.
Well,
I'm not sure how we got on this topic, but cinema is next up on the slate here. We got to talk about some SmackDown from the past week, and this week was once again a one segment show, and the segment was very different than most wrestling segments. So if you haven't seen this, before you listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, please go watch. It's about 7-8 minutes.
Before you watch that, listen to the song "I Am the Storm" with Titus O'Neil in that song. Did you listen to that, man?
I did not know he was in that song.
Yeah, he does like a narration at the start of the song. Yeah, he's credited on the song. Titus O'Neil, good guy by the way. I like Titus.
Hey man, he was nice, and he's Mr. Worldwide. Move over, Pitbull.
He's in the studio now.
Hey man, him and Pitbull should make a song called Mr. Worldwide.
All right.
Probably wouldn't be good, but anyways, speaking of things that weren't good, Ryan.
Wow. You know what? It's tough, man, because I love these guys, Cody and Roman, and when they're together on screen, it's always magic. Maybe this was a little overproduced for my taste, but these guys are big stars, and I can see this promo probably couldn't have been cut in the arena because the fans probably would have, they wouldn't have gave them the right reaction, I guess. I don't know, man. Maybe it did what it needed to do. And I did like that they met at the Georgia Tech Stadium, the field, because that's common ground, Micah. Roman Reigns went to school at Georgia Tech, Atlanta, Georgia. Cody Rhodes grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, man, I like that part of it.
I'm fine with the meeting at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Roman rolls like the president, evidently.
Well, it's tribal chief.
Well, but
no, actually, no, he's not. He's not no more.
Yeah, he lost his Ulafala and his WWE Championship, and Jimmy and Jey and his wise man. You didn't know this, Ryan.
I don't watch the product. I'm sorry.
You must be a sicko.
Call me.
But anyways, I don't know, man. I think this was Cody's worst, like, AEW-esque segments where his acting is just really, really bad. And I don't think Roman did a great job either. The faces when they make comments, and also, look, man, I'm not hating, but when Cody stepped in front of him at the end, that felt like Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, come on. What? How do you get that out of that? Get your mind out the gutter. What are you talking about?
Come on.
Mean
no.
What do you mean?
No, you know what I mean.
You're in my way. You're in my way in life. Is that what you're
Come on, Ryan. Come on, Ryan.
You saying there's sexual tension between Cody Rhodes and the former tribal chief? Mike, what are you saying here?
That's what if that's what they weren't implying, it was implied.
Come on, man.
It was awkward. Like, the acting was so bad. Okay, listen. This might be a step above the NXT level acting, but it's not a giant step.
But they're two of the biggest stars in the industry, Mike. Can we appreciate that? It's like having Rock and Austin at the same time in the business. Roman and Cody are...
Rock and Austin would have done this better.
Well, hey, okay, maybe. But still, though, I didn't hate that. I didn't hate the dialogue per se. I just didn't like the overproduced production type to it. The song was gas. I admit, I put it on my playlist, but it was a little too Lucha Underground-y for me, which is hurtful for me to say because I like Lucha Underground, but when it comes to a wrestling program, it made no sense. When it comes to Cody accepting to team with Roman, that made little to no sense too. Why did Cody agree to team with Roman? Because on the same show where he said he wasn't going to team with Roman, he said he was done with the bloodline. And then in that same show, he agreed to team with Roman.
Yeah.
So he's not done with the bloodline. Why did he agree?
I think it's the worst case of dumb babyface syndrome. It's the Cena stuff we were talking about a couple segments ago. The like, well, I've got, because I'm a good guy and I'm a staunch defender of what's right, I've got to vanquish the, like, I don't know. And it's not so much that the dialogue was horrible, though it wasn't great. I guess it was like the real fake acting and like the one of the things I hate the most in wrestling, and they do it across the board, is there's no acknowledgement that the camera is in the room.
TNA mastered that in their backstage segments of like staging the camera where you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that it's ironic because who was in charge of this segment? Jeremy Borash, a longtime TNA producer.
Well, they would have. I probably would have been down for this a lot more, which it would have been harder to pull off, I guess, at the football stadium if this was a secret conversation, or even if it was booked as like, I don't know, like a press conference or something. Like I just did not. I don't know, man. I did not like this at all. This is not what I want my wrestling show to be, and it just, I don't know. It felt lame, like real bad.
Oh, man, I didn't think it was. I'll allow it because those are the biggest stars in the industry. And I can see they wanted cinema. I can see this type of scene happening in like Fast 12 or Fast 13, wherever they're on. But as far as a wrestling show, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah. That is my problem though. It's like a movie or a TV show scene. And I know wrestling is inevitably a TV show, but it's supposed to be sports. Like, we're not going to see Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson meet at, the midfield of MetLife Stadium and be like, you're in my way. Well, you're my quarterback. Like, no, come on, dog. It just don't feel genuine.
I don't know. Agree to disagree.
But see the match, just this didn't do it for me. We'll see what happens. I know personally I'm gonna be going crazy whenever Roman and Jacob Fatu get in the ring face to face for the first time.
Are they building that for WrestleMania?
I could see it, but I don't know what The Rock's involvement's going to be. I still feel like it's going to... Well, I don't know. If it's going to be Rock and Cody, that might be one thing, but I figured they'd go with Rock and Roman.
You know what's weird? I thought they were going to be building to a Bloodline type War Games coming up, but it doesn't look like that's where they're going.
Yeah. If that is where they're going, they got a short time to build it. They have about a month to somehow get Jey and Jimmy and Sammy built back into this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's where they're going anymore. So we'll see, because it still advertises War Games for Survivor Series, but maybe we don't get Bloodline shenanigans in War Games. Has Jacob Fatu had a singles match yet? I don't think he has.
I don't believe so. I think it's all been tag matches.
Do you save his first singles match for Roman? If you had the pencil, who's his first opponent?
I actually, hot take, I think I might make it LA Knight.
Ooh, okay. Title match.
Yeah, and I think you have him smash LA Knight.
Well, come on, man. Why?
Because it gets Jacob over that much more.
Why can't he just smash Roman? Pause.
No diddy. Oh,
just saying.
Well, that's Roman a long time to wait, and Roman, like, I don't know, when are you going to do that? Is that Saturday night's main event?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. They need something big for Saturday night's main event, because that's on NBC. It's a big show. They're going to be in the Nassau Coliseum. So at prime time, Saturday night. So, yeah, you got to do something. Maybe you get Roman and Cody part 3 on Saturday night's main event. Can you see that happening?
Okay. I'm listening.
That'd be because it doesn't seem like they are done with the Cody Roman storyline. They need
Yeah.
a match 3. Do you wait for a WrestleMania or do you do it Saturday night's main event? Well, I mean, you could do that. That would bring a big audience for that show.
I think you do Cody Roman 3.
Okay.
That way that match is not locked in for WrestleMania, but
Yeah.
Rock somehow gets involved. Whether that be to
Mm.
cost Roman or cost Cody, I don't know. Because the good thing about that is, regardless of who Rock helps, he'll still be a heel.
Yeah. And if you recall, Micah, Saturday night's main event is historically known for shooting big angles. And there's not a bigger angle you can shoot by having Rock show up. And maybe having maybe a new member of the bloodline, or maybe they jump Solo Sikoa and they make Fatu the new tribal chief. I don't know, man. But I think they're due a big angle on Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
You,
If
you
you
could build
save
that
Jacob
up.
Fatu's first singles match for Roman, I don't think that would be a bad thing. And if they did that on Saturday night's main event, that'd be cool. But I feel like it's going to be Roman Cody because they've both been advertised.
That's gonna be a big pay-per-view like special because they have no PLEs. I think is after Survivor Series, the next PLE after that is Royal Rumble, and this year or next year's Royal Rumble is the first week of February, Micah. So that leaves December with no PLE, January with no PLE. So I
Wait,
think Saturday.
I thought
Go
Saturday
ahead.
night's main event was in December.
It is, but it's not technically a PLE. It's just a network TV special.
Oh.
So you got to build that show up something big.
Okay. Well, we got a little time here because we're kind of running short on the last. Yeah, there's not a whole lot, I guess, left to really talk about from. Even though we haven't gotten to the other stuff, it's not very extensive. 5-match card, Ryan.
Oh man.
What are you doing for Saturday night's main event?
I can give you the top matches that I'm booking. I'm I'm putting Roman and Cody as the marquee,
Okay.
and the IC champion. I don't see that happening. US champ. Yeah, you know what? Actually, right now I only got that one.
Well, I
I only
got
got that.
another one for you.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Hit me.
Punk versus Gunther.
You know what I would do? Punk versus Cena on that first Raw on Netflix.
Oh.
Can you see? Yeah, I can see that main event, that first Netflix show. That would be a huge match.
Yeah.
Because Cena did say he's gonna be on that first Raw show on Netflix. What better
And I
opponent?
mean
Now they're not.
they have at least that point.
Oh yeah, it has to happen. I better not see nobody in the comments saying, "Oh, Randy Orton and Cena should be the first match on the Raw on Netflix." No, it shouldn't. No, nobody wants to see that anymore. We hated it when it happened, but somehow it was good. I don't understand that, by the way.
Uh, it's what nostalgia glasses.
Yeah, that's what they got, man. I remember the whole championship unification segment got booed out of the building, and when Daniel Bryan was hot, I remember that. I remember the crowd uh, crapping all over the match with Cena and Orton at Royal Rumble 2014. I remember that. That happened. We have the footage. It's not deleted. We saw it, but somehow people want to see it now.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
That's not.
yeah,
It's not what I want to see. I mean, if we see it once, okay, but I
they
have
want
a
to see it at
feeling
Mania, man.
at Mania.
That's what people want. They want it at Mania. They want it on the first Netflix Raw. They want it all year, I guess. I don't know. They want Randy to be champ too.
Yeah, nah. We not doing that. Um, do you think it's gonna be an hour or 2 hours?
Uh, um, Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
It was when it was on NBC the last time, which I think was '08, '07, or '06, one of them. It might have been all three actually. It was a 2 hour special, so I can see it being 2 hours.
Okay. Well then,
I
yeah.
would, I would hope it's 2 hours.
Yeah. I feel like Cody Roman, maybe Punk Gunther. Other than that, I don't really know what you fill in there. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the story goes. Coming out of Bad Blood, it's going to be real interesting as we build the Survivor Series to see if they do the bloodline stuff. One last thing.
Segment. We get Carlitos Cabana coming back for one night. Can we have that?
I wouldn't hate that.
Okay.
Just for old time's sake.
Yeah, there you go. Get the hammock out there.
What other? Well, don't do the KO show. Don't.
No,
We're not asking for
God.
that. One other thing, and then we'll move on. Because it's been a hot topic online. Main event of Bad Blood, do you go Punk Drew or Cody Roman versus Fatu Solo?
I think it depends on the angle they're shooting at the end. If you got something planned for the tag match, big, then you do that to main event the show. But if you don't, then you main event the show with Punk and Drew. But I mean, either way, the crowd's gonna be rocking for both matches. So I mean, you can't go wrong with either or.
Yeah. I would say Punk Drew, but I'm biased, and I feel like Punk's gonna win. So maybe you send the fans home happy, but I don't know. That's not always been their mantra. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of a raucous crowd, Monday Night Raw was live from Canada. And really, the big talking point out of this,
California, Ontario, California.
It wasn't Canada.
No, it's California, man.
You lying?
No, I swear, man, because I saw the promo afterward where Jey said that it was nice for him to win the title in his home state of California. So it was Ontario, California.
I swear, I heard Joe Tessitore say Ontario, so I was like, oh, okay, Canada. Well, regardless, Jey versus Braun was the main event here. Jey wins his first singles title in 14 years of being on the main roster. Huge deal. The roof blew off the place. And you predicted this. I thought Braun was going to be on the victorious side, and he was not. But you think they made the right move? Obviously, a lot of people are happy with this call.
You know, man, I didn't notice until somebody pointed it out online that Jey Uso's dad and Braun Breaker's dad actually had a WrestleMania match. WrestleMania 9, a tag match. The Steiner brothers versus the Head Shrinkers. That happened. I just wanted to point that little factoid out. Yeah, man, I think it was the right call. And a title change on Raw, that's very rare to happen. It is rare, and it is always a welcome sight to see. I went down the rabbit hole, Micah. I did my research. I got in the lab, and I looked up the last time the title changed. The IC title by name. I looked it up last time it changed on Raw. It was, you want to take a guess, Micah?
2018.
Pretty close. 2019. Bobby Lashley. He beat Finn Balor on Raw. That was the last time the IC title changed hands on Raw. How crazy that. Went through a whole pandemic. Didn't happen.
A whole pandemic and a wrestling boom.
Yeah, 5 years. It hasn't changed hands on Raw.
Well, I mean, I think that plays into the story too, because the people wanted it, but I think people like me didn't expect it, because Triple H doesn't do this on Raw. He's been beaten before, and it hadn't really taken away from Jey.
And Triple H loves to book long title reigns. But in this case, Micah, I don't think you needed a long title reign. We have been just force-fed these long title reigns over the last 3 years. I mean, look, Gunther had the longest IC title reign of all time Roman had the longest world title reign of the last 40 years. Rhea had one of the longest reign that didn't amount to anything because nothing happened in her reign, but it still was a long reign. Ooh, the Usos, they were the longest reign tag champs, not even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to switch it up, man. Not everybody needs a 3-year long title reign.
No, I agree. Some of the stuff that was pointed out that I guess has just kind of been refreshed in my mind because of the Vince doc. Part of what killed the business for so long was the hot shot booking, and nothing stuck. And it was how far can we push the envelope? So I wonder if Triple H was hesitant, and maybe since the long term booking of the Bloodline and Roman and the Usos has worked so well, that he didn't want to pull the trigger. But I think there's a time and place for everything. And just based off their reaction online and in the arena, I think it was absolutely the perfect time. And I still think Braun is a menacing threat to anybody.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's not buried like people were saying online. It's not. I mean, he'll be back. I'm sure he'll win the IC title 3 times over. But Micah,
Yeah.
when you have so much TV time a week like WWE has, what, 5 hours for the weekly shows, 7 hours if you count NXT, you cannot stagnate by having these long title reigns. It's too much TV time. It just makes the shows long and boring. You need to switch it up.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even like the Liv Rhea stuff, you really don't know. I mean, Liv's been champ for a good minute, but like at Bad Blood, I really don't know who's going to win. And that makes it interesting. When Roman's a champ and he's facing Kevin Owens for the 4th time, well, guess who's going to win this one? Probably not Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I agree. And Joe Tessitore, he might be my favorite play-by-play guy that WWE has.
Yeah. I think he's not as good as Michael Cole, but he's fresher than Michael Cole.
I think it's weird because he has that sports commentator type voice, which sometimes won't translate to WWE. Like they had the baseball guy, Adnan Burke, and he was a long time baseball guy on ESPN, Micah, and it just didn't translate. It just, I don't know, it's just a cadence in their voice that sometimes just won't translate. But in this case with Joe Tessitore, he does a good job, man. He's adapted to the style, and I like him more. Maybe I like him more than Michael Cole at this point, man. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think I like him more than Cole just because it's different. And the problem is Michael Cole has been there so long that everybody has stopped being themselves. And we've talked about it before. They've just become Michael Cole clones.
Yeah,
And Joe Tessitore is himself, and
guy.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. He's been doing some good work on ESPN calling games, and I think he was on that Steph Curry golf show, wasn't he?
Oh, you asked me
Holy
the
moly,
wrong man.
You didn't see Holy Moly? Come on.
No,
man.
I did not.
Hey.
But so where do you see this reign for Jey going? I mean, obviously a great decision. I mean, there was children crying online, like they were so happy for Jey. It's a big moment, and that's probably one of the loudest reactions I can remember on a Monday Night Raw in a long time. Like, it wasn't as loud as a Foley, but like it kind of, there was a touch of that there. Like the people wanted it so bad. And obviously I'm happy for Jey. Where do you see him riding this wave? Because he's been on this high for so long. And even though like all the work rate people, that are like, oh, he's so awful. This goes to show you don't exactly need that. But he has had some stinkers. So
but it's not always about the moves. It's not always about the moves. It's about how you can elicit the reaction from the audience. And man, Jey's a top 3 reaction getter at this point in the industry. So you cannot deny that again. He could not have lost his 7th singles title opportunity. It couldn't happen. So all you basement dwellers online saying that Jey Uso doesn't deserve it because he doesn't do 3 Canadian destroyers into a hidden blade and then a 2.5 kick out. It doesn't matter about the moves, big bro. It's about the audience reaction and the moments. So yeah, man. What was your question again? Oh yeah, who does he go to next? Can you do Bronson Reed or is it too early? Can you do that?
I think it would be too early just because I'm thinking that might be the next person they put it on.
What about could you do Xavier Woods if we get him turned on Kofi? Because I think Xavier's cooking on something right now on Monday nights.
I
Maybe
can
it'd be
see
a little too
that,
early.
but I don't want Xavier to lose either. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. They need a little shake up here with the rosters because guys like AJ Styles needs to be on Raw at this point. They have nothing else to do on SmackDown. Guys like
Yeah.
KO needs to be on Raw because he has nothing else to do on SmackDown. So yeah, I would like a little shake up, but if we don't get a shake up, maybe you could run it with Chad Gable again, I guess. It's not something I would want to see, but he's a heel. He gets a decent reaction week to week. He being Chad Gable, so I can see that. I can see that being his next program.
Yeah. Maybe like maybe another iteration of Ilya and Jay.
Okay. All right. He's babyface.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I just like the Raw roster to me. I can only remember the people that have recently been on the show, and they're pretty much all intermingling with other people. So, like, who right now is on the shelf for Raw?
Oh, you know what? What if we go Dom Mysterio?
I wouldn't
You
hate
could
that.
actually, you know what? You could actually give that title to Dom.
Well, I don't think you take it off of him just yet.
But you give it to a great heel. Would that be the end of the world?
No, I feel like they're gonna let Jay at least be champ for a little bit.
I don't think he has to be because he still has bloodline story just waiting to be told. So I don't think you have to keep it on Jay that long, actually. I think the whole point of the Jay reaction and the all the great fanfare he's been receiving online was just about the chase, Micah. And it's not about the actual reign. It was about the chase.
That's true. Which I
So
mean, that's kind of Cody's whole mantra.
yeah. So I wouldn't hate if they put the title on Dom. Would not hate that at all. I think that could be your next feud right there. And you know
Well,
what? You have a built-in tie-in with Rhea.
that is true.
So we got something here.
We might be cooking.
Okay.
The thing is I'm looking at the roster. I don't
What we
see
got?
any heels.
They got no heels on both shows.
No, like okay, so we got
Judgment Day.
and Karrion Cross, but I mean you might as well just shoot Jey Uso in the
Oh,
head if you want to
you don't
put him
do
with
that.
Karrion Cross.
No, you don't do that.
There's the Miz, which might not be horrible. The matches would stink, but
He's babyface.
yeah, but you could turn the Miz.
Okay. All right.
Dude, that's it. Other than the Judgment Day, the Creeds, Bronson Reed, and wherever the Wyatt family is, like that is everybody that on the heel side of Raw.
And you know what? People are mad that they are making Raw 2 hours. Oh, we're not gonna see our favorites, not gonna get time on the show. Well, you know what? When you're looking at the roster, a lot of these guys don't need to be on the show.
Yeah. Especially not mainstays on the show. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus. I don't know, man. But anyways, happy for Jay. Excited to see where it goes. And I do think a short reign for him also would not be a bad thing. I still think he can ride the wave just because people like doing the dance. And speaking of doing the dance, we'll move to AEW Dynamite from this past this past Wednesday. And before we get to the match, which it did start Dynamite, I want to go ahead and get into Prince Nana coming out, doing this promo, talking about Swerve and the debut of MVP and the looming Hurt Syndicate.
You know what, man? I don't think there's anything wrong with people of the same color and creed hanging out together, but I just think it's really funny and ironic that when WWE has that and puts everybody together, that is racist. But when I go read the Basement Dwellers comments, it's, oh my God, can you imagine Swerve and Hobbs in the new Hurt Business? Like, how is it racist over there when WWE does it, but it's not when AEW does it? I don't know, man.
Can I say something real quick? And it might,
Go ahead.
it might get taken the wrong way.
No, do it. There you go. Floor's yours.
When you go to, let's say there's a rec center that we both live close to,
Okay.
and there's 2 courts.
Yeah.
Typically, if there's a lot of people going,
Yeah,
Ryan,
it's busy.
what do people naturally in their minds do? Not even like really thinking about it. What do they do on 2 courts?
Well, they segregate.
I mean, you hang out with the people that you like grow up or associate with. So
That's
what's
true.
the issue with that in wrestling?
That is true. That's human nature. That's not really just being. That's not us being ugly. That's just human nature. You tend to hang out with people of the same background, and people that look like you. People tend to stick together. But it's just funny when the Basement says that it's racist when WWE links together all the Latinos, but it's not racist when AEW wants to reform the Hurt Business and reform the Nation of Domination and put all the black wrestlers all in one group. How is that? We're being hypocrites here. Are we not?
No, I absolutely see your point. I think it's a ridiculous statement. Like, I understand you can't just be like, okay, every black person we get is going in this group, and none of them can be main eventers. And every Latino person we get is going in this group, and none of them can be main eventers. We can only have white people in the main event. Like, obviously, that is wrong. But in life, people hang out with the people that they identify with and other people that can identify with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's wrong with that in wrestling? But like you said, there's something, there's got to be wrong with WWE. So it's bad over there and it's good in AEW.
Yeah, that was something that really bothered me reading all the comments. But Micah, are we leaning on the ex-WWE guys a little too much here? We're bringing in 50-year-old Bobby Lashley and 50-year-old MVP.
Well, I don't think they're bad acquisitions, but I do think that it's stupid to call them like a basic like derivative of what they were called in WWE.
You know, Meltzer took them to task on his show last night, or I think it was last night. He was basically saying that you're not reaching a younger demographic and a younger audience by just getting old WWE guys, which I do tend to agree. Because if your main audience, Micah, is people that are sick and tired of WWE and want something different, how are you going to get something different when all the guys you're seeing in AEW are guys that you were sick of seeing in WWE 5 years ago?
Well, you got a point.
Yeah. Where are the Darbys and the Kip Sabians and scapegoat Jack Perry? Are they gonna get more TV time because Bobby Lashley's here or less? Of course they're gonna get less. Look at Bobby and look at them. Is that
Exactly.
helping the future of AEW?
That's what I was about to say. Was how is that going to look for Jungle Boy to be across the ring from
Oh
Bobby
God.
Lashley?
How's it gonna look for Bobby when he has to sell for Jungle Boy?
Yeah, Bobby Lashley looks like he could eat Jungle Boy.
Can you imagine Bobby Lashley taking a Canadian destroyer? I'm sure we'll see it, but
I was about to say, I just give it about 5 weeks, it'll be there. But I think MVP as a hire is a good thing. I even think the Hurt business can be a good thing, or the Hurt Syndicate, or whatever they do. Because when MVP comes in there, you can immediately tell he classes up the place with a promo. Like, he
oh yeah,
sounded legitimate,
yeah,
but he sounded like he was in an echo chamber because there was, you could hear him echoing, like, and nobody, like, reacted. They reacted when he
yeah.
came out, and then when he was saying stuff, it just fell flat. And it wasn't his fault.
Can you believe that was a New York audience?
I'm very shocked, especially for an audience that they used to go to all the time. That was rabid for them.
For any wrestling,
Well, that too.
they just reacted to the moves. They didn't react to anything that was taking place. They would just sit there for long stretches of time. Even in the match we're about to talk about, which probably isn't much to say, but in the Nigel McGuinness, Daniel Bryan match, something that supposedly has been building for 15 years and we had to Google it to understand what was happening. People were silent during the match. People did not care. They did not react whatsoever. I don't even think I heard of "This Is Awesome" chant. And that's usually part of the course with anything in AEW.
I think there was one. I do feel like, or maybe I'm remembering the Braun Jay match. I know they had one, but I mean, you're not wrong. It sounded like they were sitting on their hands all night.
Yeah. They just sit there and wait for the next Burning Hammer 640 through a flaming table. That's when they come up. That's when they react. When stuff like that happens. They're numb to it. Have they ruined their audiences? I think they're
think that
numb to anything that's not flippy doodah through a flaming table, Micah.
I don't know. It's getting to the point where and I'm not saying that like it's going to die because that's what everybody always thinks. It's not what I'm saying, but it's getting to the WCW point where it's death by 1,000 cuts. Like there are so many things that are working against them or have worked against them in the past, and they just have yet to do anything to turn their luck around. And ultimately, I love MVP and I
Yeah.
love Bobby Lashley. I don't think that they're the ones to make that change for them.
Are you telling me that they're not a game changer? Or is that what you're telling me? That's not a game changing signing?
I don't think so.
You fed shield.
I knew there was something. I knew there was some sarcasm somewhere in there.
That Jericho's not liking MVP there.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm sure that we'll have a feud, but it's just funny because of all the discourse online about that.
I mean, I am very shocked. I completely forgot about that. But I mean, I don't know, like, and here's the thing too. I felt like MVP did a better job getting Swerve over than Nana really has.
Oh yeah,
Other than
of
the
course.
dance.
Oh, that's yeah, absolutely. And MVP even joked about it in his promo. He said that Nana he wasn't doing his job because he was shucking and jiving all over the place, which is what I've been saying on this podcast for months. And yeah, man, I think MVP would be a way better manager to Swerve than what Nana is at this point. Nana doesn't even say anything. He just shows up to dance and drink coffee.
But then what do you do with Nana?
I don't know, ROH. I'm sure they have a job doing something. Now he probably doesn't have to do anything. He probably still get paid.
Well, yeah, you're probably right about that.
Yeah, is he gonna be missed?
No, I don't think I think people like doing the dance, but I hate watching uncoordinated wrestling fans try and do the dance.
Uh, well, are they going to be cheering for Swerve at that point if they can't do the dance?
Well, probably not.
They probably still do the dance.
Well, maybe so. But I mean, I think MVP is a good hire. We'll see where it goes. It's interesting. Like, it's something to make me watch their TV just to see where they go with it. But, like,
how out of place
again,
is Bobby Lashley going to be?
That, exactly.
Look at Bobby and look at the rest of the roster.
Who does he feud with? Like, who is his first feud? Is it gonna be him and Swerve for like a?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I guess Swerve, but then Swerve has to win, doesn't he? Are they gonna let Bobby lose on his first feud?
I would hope not, or I would assume that they would somehow team up eventually, or that's where they're leading.
I can see it. Bobby should feud with. Oh man, do you think we get Jericho right off the bat?
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Shoot me.
I can see it. I can see it.
I don't want to see it. I can see it. I don't want to see it. I might take my glasses off, man.
Oh man.
Well, you kind of already touched on it earlier. Unless you have anything else to say about MVP.
Nah.
The starting match was for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. And obviously, as you mentioned earlier, the 15-year feud. It's been going on since Ring of Honor. I thought it was a good match. I don't think it was great. It didn't live up to their old ones. I don't think anybody was expecting that. It was a nostalgia piece. And that's fine. But I don't know. I think the setting and the crowd really hurt this because it felt like they didn't care. And it's just one of those things where you knew Danielson was going to win, and it was cool for the people that got it. And for the people that didn't get it, it was a commentator going 20 minutes with your world champion.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got all wrote down here, man. It didn't need to go 20 minutes. We probably could have done this in 8, but that's not AEW way. So every match has to be 20 minutes back and forth. Like you said, it was a solid match. Nothing wrong with the match. The strikes were a far cry from what they did 15 years earlier. Like, you go back and watch those matches that Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness had in ROH back in the day, where they were headbutting the ring post. You didn't get that here. You got some soft strikes, but they played the hits, and the people that enjoyed that type of thing, they enjoyed it. So, yeah, I guess mission accomplished. Nigel and Bryan Danielson, I guess, are cool now. So, yeah, so Jim Ross is back on commentary. Did you see that?
I did see that. Does it feel like he's phoning it in sometimes when he's like, this is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen? And I'm like, JR, you are lying.
Yeah, it sounds like AI generated. Are we sure JR is out there?
Did they show him?
I don't think they did, no.
He might have not been out there.
Could have been AI. AI's getting pretty advanced.
Chat GPT, Jim Ross.
You could probably do that.
Probably. Chat GPT, Kevin Patrick. That's real nightmare fuel.
Oh, God.
So, Dynamite Grand Slam happened. We got a debut. We'll see where it goes. Overall, though, kind of a slower weekend wrestling other than the Jey victory. I think that's a big moment that will probably go down as one of the bigger moments of the year. But that's it for us. Come back next week. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you share our stuff. Get our platform out there. Make sure you're following us at scoopslammedpod on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That way you know when we're scooping and slamming next. Make sure to check out our sponsor, Dead Thread, for all your sports merch needs. As some seasons are underway, some seasons are about to wrap up and go into the postseason. Check out the link in the link tree below. You'll get 15% off when you go to check out. Scoop Slam Pod is the code, or just Scoop Slam to get you an additional 10% off. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.